Hello and welcome to the Trust Factor Podcast, the only podcast that guarantees your success when you implement its divine age-old teachings. Good morning, everybody. Thank you for checking in with us today on the Trust Factor Podcast. Quick question for everybody. Are you sharing the podcast? If you're listening and you're enjoying, if you're taking anything away from this that you think is valuable, I hope you're sharing because it's important. For everyone like you, there are 10,000 more. There are so many people out there who are having a difficult time digesting the realities of life. And today, one can argue very easily that life seems to be more challenging than ever, with all of the craziness in the world and all of the social media and all the different outlets that are there to remind you, to point out to you just how crazy things can get. So think about your friends and your family. If you're benefiting from it, the right thing to do, my friends, is to pass it forward, share it, send a link, send one of the clips, the sound bites, the 1-minute sound bites. Just do something to help out a friend because you would be surprised how many people need it but aren't saying it. What we're about to discuss can get a little bit heavy, but that's life, my friends. It's not all peaches and cream. Things can get difficult. The idea is to address and to deal with the challenges of life head on. Don't run from them. Don't try and paint them into something that they're not. Don't try and explain them away. Just accept them with love. And then you'll be able to start actually appreciating even the challenges. Even the difficulties that you see coming your way will make sense. And not only will you be good with them, but you will appreciate them. It's a complete reversal. It's a 180 on life, my friends. Here's how it goes. Without emunah, in other words, without your creator, without this concept of having faith in a higher power, he who created everything, life makes no sense. Everything is for naught. A person has nothing to look forward to but the grave. Sounds pretty dark, but in reality, it's true. What do you have to look forward to in a finite world? Everybody has the same end. That's the only thing we have to look forward to in the grand scheme of things. Obviously, sometimes in between, we have other things to look forward to, good and bad. But ultimately, it's the same end. We all go to the same place, my friends. It doesn't matter how much you're worth in this life. It doesn't matter how big your home is or how many homes you have. When you're gone, it's one home, and it's the same size everybody else has. It doesn't have any of the bells and whistles. Everything else stays behind. What could be bleaker? And even if he attains material success, what perpetual good is it? His money, his car, yacht, his estates are worthless to him once he's buried. All his plans are terminated. He is like a splashing hand in a bucket. Once his hand is removed from the bucket, the water returns to normal in a matter of seconds, as if he never splashed it at all. That's what I mentioned a few months ago about this meme that was going around on social media, telling people, reminding you, it was pretty heavy, that it really won't take long. As important as you think you are, and as wonderful an individual as you are, and the impact that you've made on this world and in people's lives, it's wonderful. I'm not detracting from it, but it doesn't matter. At the end of the day, when it's all said and done, it will take moments, or at least what feels like moments, for people to get back to work, to get back to life. That's the reality. They understand that people come and go. And for most people, 99.9% of the people you know, it will be a fleeting sorrow. It will be challenging for a little while, but then you will be forgotten and they'll get back to life. Certainly there will be a few people who will hang on to it longer, but eventually they will go. And nobody will remain to mourn you. So at the end of the day, you have to understand that we all have the same fate to look forward to. Nobody is different. It doesn't matter how much you're worth. He says that this world seems to be purgatory, full of pain and suffering. There doesn't seem to be a physical world at all. Look at the lives of everyone around you. They're all suffering. One has health problems. Today, who doesn't have health problems? Especially after the debacle that the whole world went through not too long ago. The other has income problems. And the third has either a terrible marriage or tremendous disciplinary difficulties with his children. Even if you look closely at the success stories of the rich and famous, you'll find that their success stories are no more than veneer. Beneath the surface, they're suffering as much as everyone else, and perhaps even more than everyone else. This all shows one clear picture. There is no true gratification and joy in this world. Without emunah, there's no reason to live. That's a heavy statement, my friends. It's a heavy-duty statement. If it doesn't make sense to you, if you can't wrap your head around that, I understand it. But all that means to you is you got to work on yourself, because you'll get there. You'll get to the point where you understand that He is the purpose, that He has outlined for us exactly what the game plan is. And the game plan is so much bigger than this finite life, than this temporary existence, that this temporary existence is just a hallway. It's just a connector between two worlds where we stop by and we pick up things on the way to be able to help us build our next world. It's like you're going on a drive. It's like you're taking your family on a vacation where you've got an RV, a camper, and you're driving to a faraway destination. And along the way, you're stopping up and picking up your groceries and picking up your supplies and picking up all the important things, the critical things that you need to be able to camp out wherever you're going. You need the food, you need the drink, you need the creature comforts, you need all these certain things to be able to make sure that you can live a decent life wherever you get to. That's where we are. We're in this RV and we're cruising through this world, picking up the pieces that will allow us to be able to live a good life when we get to the real world. Emunah is a reason for living. It soothes every pain, comforts a person, and gives him strength. The Creator wants His creation to be successful. He doesn't make their lives difficult just to torment them. That's not God. We've discussed that already. The difficulties that come our way are loving reminders that we are on this RV and we need to stop, pull over. We need to pick up X, Y, and Z. We still haven't gotten those. How are we going to be able to thrive where we're going if we haven't got certain things? So your love tap, your tribulation, is God reminding you to pull over and pick up your supplies. The Creator gives each person a wonderful gift, the ability to rectify. Therefore, if a person has been suffering because he hasn't been living his life the way he should, he can backtrack, correct his ways, and pursue a path of emunah that will not only bring him closer to the Creator, but will add meaning to his life. Backtrack. I'm still on this RV. As long as I'm on this RV and I'm headed to our destination, to our campsite, I can always drive back. I can always turn around and pick up the things that I forgot to pick up, as long as I'm here. Once you're gone, once you reach your destination, there's no more turning back. You're done. So the whole idea is that you're picking up these things before you get there, so that when you get there, you're set. You don't have to think, uh-oh, what did I forget? I forgot X. I forgot Y. It's like you're going to the airport. Did you get your passports? I forgot. I got everything else. The one thing I needed most, I forgot behind, the passports. That we don't want to happen at the end of the run, my friends. When the show's over, you want to make sure you've got everything that you need to be able to sustain you where you're going. At any given moment, a person can mend his ways. He can cast aside false and faulty opinions and ideologies. The Creator is always waiting with open arms and is more forgiving than anyone can imagine. All a person has to do is to desire to rectify, to stop errant behavior, to have remorse for his misdeeds, and to resolve to do better. If we combine this type of rectification with a desire to connect to the Creator, a person can make his life improve dramatically for the better. He'll find that his suffering in the past has triggered rectification and spiritual growth, and that has helped him to learn emunah and brought him closer to his Creator. Let me give you an example, and we'll finish with this. You get a speeding ticket and you go to court to fight this speeding ticket. And when you get to court, your heart is pumping and your hands are sweating and you're nervous, which I don't always understand, because at the end of the day, you're dealing with flesh and blood and it's only a ticket. But for some reason, we all get nervous when it comes to court. For some reason, we don't get nervous when it comes to the heavenly court, but that's a different story. Point is, you're sitting in court and you're waiting for the judge, and your turn comes up and the judge says to you, "How do you plead?" And you say to him, "I plead guilty," with an explanation. What's your explanation? I was in a rush. It was a state of emergency. I needed to get to where I was going quickly, and I had to exceed the speed limit. And as a result, I got charged $500 fine, whatever it was. And I strongly, strongly regret it. I feel real remorse about it. And you're not lying. You're really telling the truth. You do feel bad, genuinely bad. It's not you. You're not somebody who speeds. You're somebody who drives very carefully. This was an extenuating circumstance, and as a result, you were forced to do something outside of your comfort zone, and you felt bad about it, but it doesn't help you. You still got caught, and you still got a $500 ticket. What does the judge tell you? He says, "Okay, I hear you. But at the end of the day, you sped. Okay, I'm going to lower your fine from $500 to $250, and I'm going to give you 60 days, 90 days to pay. Wonderful. That's this world. That's this world where people are limited in their abilities and their foresight and their ability to care for another individual. In God's heavenly court, this is the way it plays out. You say very clearly to the judge, who also happens to be your father. You understand? Right away, it's a different scenario. Your father is behind the bench. He is the guy holding the gavel. He is the one who loves you infinitely. And he's also your judge. So you plead to him, Abba, Father, I did it. But you know why I did it. It was an emergency. I don't normally do it. I feel bad. I really do. But I had to do it. It was necessary. What does God say? He recognizes that you really feel bad. He recognizes that you made a mistake. He recognizes that you really, truly don't ever want to repeat that mistake. Not only does he not lower your fine, but what he does is he gives you that fine back to you. So now instead of you owing $500, you walk out of that court with $500 and the ticket is erased from your record. That's how he operates. He doesn't want you to suffer and he doesn't want you to be punished. He wants you to recognize what you've done. And once you've recognized it, which is what he wants, he rewards you for having done what he wants, which is just accountability, being present, like we've said. So once you've done that in the spiritual court and you've acknowledged, I've done wrong, I don't feel good about it, and I'm going to make efforts to change my ways, you get that very same sin becomes a reward. Instead of bringing you down like an anchor, it lifts you up. Why? What's the premise? Because had you not done that very same thing, had you not done the thing you weren't supposed to do, you would have never been brought to realize your faults and your frailty. But because you've done it, you were brought to that position. In other words, it was that sin that brought you to recognize that you did wrong and to atone for it and to say, I did wrong. I feel bad. I'm going to become a better person and I'm not going to repeat that negative behavior again. That is worth money, my friends. And therefore, God rewards you. The negative becomes a positive in your spiritual bank account. That's how it works, my friends. Have an amazing day. Thank you for spending time with us on the Trust Factor podcast. If you've heard something today that moved you, save this episode and share it with someone who might need to hear it. Be sure to subscribe so you don't miss upcoming conversations that challenge, empower, and uplift. And if you're on social media, connect with us. Leave your thoughts. Drop a quote that resonated with you. Hashtag the Trust Factor podcast. Until next time, keep growing in your trust and keep living with purpose. I'm Jesse Revivo, and this has been the Trust Factor podcast. Thanks for listening.